One of the major things that I saw from the documentary, everybody kind of had somewhat of a solution, right, of what they think should help, especially with the art. I wanted to know, since you're the director, the producer, what do you think is one of the solutions? I know a lot was repeated in the documentary, but I wanted personally to know what your personal views as far as like, what is the solution to have, you know, Haitian art being seen internationally and also being used as one of the things to help us really bring Haiti to another level?
I think for us to really be tapped in, because 2023, there was actually an exhibition at UCLA where I'd be curating 3 shows at Bechir Constant, same last name, and she's gonna have the first solo exhibition show at the Flower Museum at UCLA, and there's all these exhibitions that I see these happening internationally. Support our Haitian galleries that we have here, like Gary Lacaille. There's so many that have been put into work, but I think with social media and people sharing the work that they do, instead of, I think it seems like a lot of collector conversations, that it's good art and people know that it's great, but it's not crossing over to other people to see it. So I think that's what I hope with this documentary, and I think that's, and for Haitians just working together, I think that's another thing. And
is there any other barriers, do you think?
I think the big thing is the perception that it's going to just be kept in folk art, or it's just going to be kept in, like I think, an artistic ghetto. You know what I mean? That it doesn't allow you to increase your price if you're always put in those confines. So I think once more business people like push the art, the producers, it helps for it to have more value and for it to be written about, for it to, you know, be in the new release. Like that, those things matter. Our film going to the Haitian Embassy next month, going to Duke University that has a connection with 15 other colleges. You know, it's really like you know, me getting this stuff on public television, like really working, and I think marketing, and not just having to show it one time, like really having a plan, I think, for it. Like if you're trying to market a product, you know, so I think it's, and I think there are many things that are happening. I see what, like Haitian Art Society, some collectors are showing their homes now. So I think in 2023, there's a lot of people that know about it, but our community needs to be a part of it. We're kind of like creating the art, but we're not really profit, you know what I mean? Like the business entities behind it. And I think we just kind of, it's great to create all this great art, but we need to have more control of, because the narratives become different. Because I see like all this art that's on the Haitian Art Society, you're like, but people are choosing certain narratives or so in Haiti. But when you see everything and what's created, you're like, no, these people are choosing. I think just being a filmmaker that goes into art, you're seeing people are choosing certain archives and telling certain stories to help a certain agenda. And I have to understand, when I went to Haiti, they're like, well, you're showing too much. You only show one artist. I'm not trying to just sell one art. I'm trying to show all what Haitian artists could do. Either they're on a, you know, artists were selling on the street to somebody, you know what I mean? It's like a major, you know, Haitian artist, you know what I mean? So it's just like, I just want to show the range and the depth of the work, you know, and that's really, and just show like, I think that's important to really showcase that, you know, Haiti's the nation of art, and I wanted to change, that's why I chose the name, Haiti is the nation of art, to change that narrative. It's always Haiti's the poorest nation, you know, in the Western Hemisphere, you know, so that was the reason I created.
What were the beginning of your passion for art? How did that start? Like, you know, because obviously you're very passionate about it, and you know, we all are
Yeah.
Our parents are usually not the people that pushes us towards that, but for some, like not some reason.
Well, I had one mom that was the complete opposite. She passed on. She pushed you into the art world. She was an artist herself. But
so support from family.
From family, my mom, my sister, the whole family. Any creative endeavor, business, they're all there. My sisters, my wife. I'm a third generation Haitian entrepreneur family. So I was raised a little like, you gotta go and get it. You know what I mean? We were raised like that. Like, my mom was a psychic. My mom, you know what I mean? So I was raised in a different type of, like, you see that more like in the north in Port au Pay. You know what I mean? They just have this, it's like a certain swag. You see when you go to, like, it's just like, I'm gonna make this happen. And if you don't believe me, you're gonna see me move.
The same way you did this festival?
The same way. So I think just seeing that, and then going to Haiti and being, oh man, seeing what people are creating, wonderful art that they're creating, and you're like.
In the 10 years you were there, what were the things that you noticed either shocked you in a positive way and also shocked you in a negative way, which is number one, making the progress of going, ooh, this is good. I didn't know this was happening. There is hope for that, and also other stuff that you went, ooh, this is definitely not the right way to go.
Yeah, I would say, like, on the negative point, just like the guys that buy art are on the same corner I saw them 7 years ago. The same corner I saw them on Petroville. I'm like, man, it's like, you're making this great work, but you're not getting but these guys are sending their kids to school, but you start seeing just that. And overall for art, I think like Kareem said in Dr. mentioned that you have to have 2 or 3 other incomes, like teacher, I do the film festival, I'm a filmmaker myself, but I think the positive is just seeing the creativity is immense in Haiti and the Haitian diaspora. Like going and, I guess I knew artists out here in California, LA, like artists want to talk about themselves. So I just kind of took that, like, I'm trying to see this works in Haiti. And it did, and the artists, gave me the interviews, and when my mom got there, they're like, we knew your project was serious, because you brought your mom out here, and I just got the film. So it just showed me if you're like persistent, you can make this happen. And of course, there's levels to the game. The first time I went there, college student, on the top, it's a different experience. It made me want to get some money. It's different. But now it's just like, you're almost getting to benefit off your labor. You're getting to see that, you made that, you took that chance when maybe a lot of people didn't see it, but it's how you frame it. I think that's what I take. I'm in kind of both worlds. I'm in the film world and being in the art world, and being raised in Hollywood, that they don't show you the negative things. When people come to this film festival, like, you killed that guy, homeless people. I say, yeah, they don't show you that. You come here, you spend your money, and I feel in Haiti, people just show the poverty all the time. I mean, there is, but I think there's other things, and just how resilient people are, or just like, they have a creative legacy, they have a rich history, and a different outlook on life. Yeah. And we need to show that outlook, or what I call that Haitian sauce. We need to start showing that sauce, and because it's great when people get a taste of it, when they really get to get this authentic experience, they get to eat the food, they get to see the films, they get to you become the curator. You're the one who takes them into your world, and you choose how much you want to show them or where you want to take them out. So I think it's like us controlling the narrative changes things. And you will get changed, like I've been changed. I never thought I would be, would have, bought Haitian art later, or, just continue from this one film has grown to the film festival. But that just shows you when you take that chance.
Artists are sitting right now, and they're going, that's all good, that's all great, but at the end of the day, I paint every single day, I'm not able to eat, I'm not, this is all good, but what do you tell to that young man or that one woman to keep going regardless? Like, how do you inspire that person to make them understand? She said it in the documentary, she was like, if you gotta get another job, but what do you say to someone to make them understand the importance of continuing this art regardless of what you think you should get?
Are you studying great artists? Are you reading books? Are you watching great films? Are you doing your homework? A lot of people talk about it, but they don't want to live the life. To be a great artist or to be at top of your game, mean you gotta watch stuff, you gotta buy stuff, you gotta live it, you gotta breathe it. This is not an industry, art, film, Haitian. You can't half step. It's all or nothing. You know what I mean? It's like, not to say it's a hustle, but it's a business. You have to really give it your all. Then the universe, if you are giving your God 100%. And another thing, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna be religious, you gotta believe in God. Because I don't know how you can make this in this industry without any belief, of city, it's God, it's spirit, whatever you believe in, you're gonna have to have something that's gonna open doors for you. That's gonna have to believe in even the Haitian spirituality. That helps a lot. Of like seeing something when there's nothing. Because basically you're jumping in faith, when you're an artist or when you're a creator. So if somebody really said they want it, you gotta go and get it.
That was for the artists. You got that. You got me. I'm not even a painter. I'm about to go paint something. But I guess I gotta start painting. But now you're in front of a politician. How do you convince them to understand the importance of this? You're in front of them, a whole crowd of politicians. They go on, plead your case. Why should we truly put all of our efforts in that culture? What do you say?
You really can't, but really it's a public good. It's a non-profit. That's why you do it, to build community. That's what politicians are supposed to do. If you really want to build this community, you'll invest. You know what I mean? I get it. As a non-profit, you basically have to talk to politicians and get them to invest. You know what I mean? Within your community. And if they...
What is that word? What is that thing that's going to make them go, that makes sense? Of course, money and all that stuff, but there is, as artists, right?
Yeah.
There is a part of humanity that, at the end of the day, I don't care if you're an artist or not, that connects us all, right? That's why we do what we do, expression of art, that's what we do. For the people that don't understand art, people that just looking at it as a waste of time, what would you say to that person?
It gotta be cachet, it gotta be sexy. I'm gonna be real with you. It gotta be sexy. You can't just try to sell art.
Hey,
that's just not.
No,
I'm gonna be real. It gotta be sexy.
There you go.
I'm selling art, but look. You gotta come with your A game. You can't come to this game like you're just gonna walk in with your t-shirt, unless you're like Jay-Z. Maybe Jay-Z could walk in with his t-shirt, but Jacquil Constant, it's not at that level yet, But I think you just have to be the best you and be authentic. And once you do that, you'll open up your own lanes. And you won't have to worry about, create your table. Really, put your work out there, and trust me, things will open that you can't even imagine, man. These limitations are self-imposed. A lot of these limitations that we have, somebody told us, but have you went there? Have you experienced it? And once you experience it, you change. And I think once they see you living your life, they're like, everybody wants to, that's what Hollywood is. Hollywood sells the dream. And you have to, I'm selling the Haitian dream. That's what I'm doing. This is what it could be. Hollywood is aspirational. You have to show them, and there's some concrete, like from Jose that actually really help people. You know, really. So I think you just have to show them it has to be sex. Sorry to say, it has to be sex in a sense. You have to package in a way that they could go to their boss and write that check. And I mean, that's me, the producer side. Like, you have to put it in a way where it's a no-brainer. You see Jimmy, you see Bechir, you see, like, I put up the grades. You guys are doing the great work as a producer, I just push it through. I said, look at his record, the work they've done. They can't deny it. Look at the stats. You know, if you're playing ball, you gotta play ball. You know what I mean? If you're playing at that level, you know what I mean? You gotta put your A game. You know what they want to hear. You know, or package it in a way that they could, and I think that's the thing of me being Haitian American, you have to be a translator. You are dealing with 2 and 3 communities all the time, maybe 4. You're dealing with your Haitian American, you're dealing with American community, you're dealing with a Hispanic, you're dealing with so many communities, but you're used to doing that. You're going to France, so I think, but how can you make that work for you? We always make these LA, Haiti, we're in these environments that don't work for us, but how can we make them work for us? Look at the environment, New York, LA, how can you make them work for you? And how can you package that? And I think that's the new thing. How are you gonna change that dynamic instead of like what they're giving me? Because that's man-made. It's not even real. And once you understand that, you can make those, you know what I mean, you can make those changes. There's great leaders, there's a lot of, I just look at other people that inspire me. I look at Christina Tim, I look at all the Haitian diaspora, everyone is amazing. You know, I look at that, I look at models that are realistic, that are working. You know what I mean? You know, Korean, I look at other families that are successful. So I think patterning yourself that's something that's realistic. A lot of people just they want to hit the home run the same day. And I talked to Jimmy, he came, and he was like, it takes 20 years. When people they see your product, they don't know the 20-year grind it took for you to get there. You know what I mean? Now they're like, oh, Jacquil got in the cons, but you know how long it took Jacquil to get to the cons? Kareem, she knows, when I used to go to a party, you know, it takes time for you to get there. And you have to be at a certain mental. Who do you become to become successful? That's a totally different thing. You know what I mean? You really got to change yourself. I say inner. Like the artists who want that success, but what are you changing about yourself inside? What are you changing to make yourself a better person? You know what I mean? Who are you helping to get to the next level? If it's just something that's just selfish, people smell it. You know what I mean? If it's something that's not...
It's selfish and ain't art.
It's not art. You know what I mean? Art, you gotta make people feel things. It's about emotion. So you have to